Right now, think about someone who has done something nice for you recently. Maybe they covered your shift. Maybe they lent you money. Maybe they just showed up when you needed them. You probably like that person. That makes sense. They helped you. Of course you like them. Now think about someone you have done something nice for. Someone you went out of your way for. Someone you gave your time to. Someone you helped even when it was inconvenient. You probably like that person too. Maybe even more than the first one. And that should make no sense at all. They didn't do anything for you. You did something for them. By every logical measure, you spent something your time, your energy, your resources, and got nothing back. And yet something in you is warmer toward them than before you helped them. That feeling has a name. It is almost 300 years old. And once you understand the mechanism behind it, you will never look at your own relationships the same way again. Let's start with Benjamin Franklin. Because he discovered this by accident. It was 1736. Franklin was a clerk for the Pennsylvania General Assembly. He was ambitious, sharp, and making enemies the way ambitious, sharp people tend to do. One man in particular was a problem, a fellow legislator, wealthy, influential, the kind of man whose opinion could make or break a political career in colonial Philadelphia. He had given a speech against Franklin in front of the entire assembly, publicly, deliberately. Franklin had two options. The obvious one was to go to the man, be charming, offer some gesture of goodwill, try to win him over the way most people try to win over their enemies. Franklin did not do that. Instead, he sent the man a letter. He had heard, he wrote, that the legislator owned a rare book, a very particular book that Franklin said he was extremely eager to read. Would he be so kind as to lend it? The man sent the book. Franklin kept it for a week, returned it with a short note of genuine thanks, and said nothing more about their conflict. And here is what happened next. The legislator, who had publicly opposed Franklin, who had gone out of his way to damage his reputation, sought Franklin out at the next assembly meeting. He spoke to him warmly. He was, Franklin later wrote, ready to serve him on all occasions. They became lifelong friends. Franklin was so struck by what had happened that he wrote about it in his autobiography. His explanation was simple. He who has once done you a kindness will be more ready to do you another than he whom you yourself have obliged. He had no neuroscience. He had no psychology degree. He had no peer-reviewed journal. He just paid attention. And here is the science that proves he was exactly right. In 1969, psychologists John Jecker and David Landy at the University of California ran an experiment that nobody expected to produce the results it did. They brought participants into a lab. Each person completed a series of tasks and won a small amount of money. Then the researcher who had run the study approached a portion of the participants individually after it was over. He told them he was using his own personal funds for the research. That money was running short. He asked personally if they would be willing to return the money they had won as a favor to him. Most of them gave it back. Then all participants were asked to rate how much they liked the researcher. The people who had given the money back, who had done a favor for the researcher, rated him significantly higher than the people who had kept their winnings. They had given something up, and they liked him more for it, not less. More. This experiment gave the phenomenon its formal name. Psychologists called it the Benjamin Franklin effect. And what it revealed about the human brain was deeply uncomfortable. We do not help people because we like them. We like people because we help them. The direction of causality is completely backwards from what we assume. So, what is actually happening inside your brain when this occurs? The answer lives in one of the most powerful and least flattering things cognitive science has ever discovered about human beings. Your brain cannot tolerate contradiction. Psychologist Leon Festinger identified this in the 1950s and called it cognitive dissonance. The theory is straightforward. When your beliefs and your actions do not match, your brain experiences genuine psychological discomfort, not metaphorical discomfort, measurable neurological stress, and your brain will do almost anything to eliminate that stress. Here is the conflict that the Benjamin Franklin effect creates. You do something nice for a person. You spend your time on them. You go out of your way, and then your brain looks at what just happened and asks a question it cannot leave unanswered. Why did I do that? If you don't particularly like that person, the contradiction is painful. You are someone who is reasonable, who doesn't waste their time, who acts with intention. So, why would you help someone you don't care about? Your brain offers you the easiest resolution available. You must like them. That's why you helped them. You wouldn't have done it otherwise. And just like that, the belief catches up to the behavior. The story your brain tells about the relationship rewrites itself to eliminate the contradiction. You didn't just help them. You helped them because you like them, because they matter to you, because that is the kind of person you are. The action came first. The feeling followed, and your brain quietly shuffled the order, so the feeling felt like it had always been there. But here is where it gets genuinely strange, because the Benjamin Franklin effect doesn't just work on people who are neutral toward you. It works on people who actively dislike you. This is the part Franklin discovered in that Pennsylvania assembly room. The man wasn't indifferent to him. He had publicly opposed him. There was genuine hostility there, real friction between two real people. And one small favor request dissolved it. Here's why. When someone who dislikes you does something for you, their brain faces an even sharper contradiction. Not only did I help this person, I helped someone I don't even like. That dissonance is almost unbearable. The brain needs to resolve it immediately, and the fastest resolution isn't to question why they helped you. It's to decide they don't actually dislike you as much as they thought. The favor becomes evidence against their own hostility. They start looking for reasons to justify what they did, and the reasons they find are reasons to like you. You didn't win them over by being impressive. You won them over by giving them the opportunity to be generous. And generosity, it turns out, is addictive. People who help you once are statistically more likely to help you again, not because they made a mistake the first time, because every subsequent act of helping reinforces the belief that the relationship is worth something to them. You are not extracting goodwill from them. You are giving them a chance to invest in you, and nobody abandons an investment they made themselves. The modern research makes this even harder to ignore. A 2011 study published in the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology tested the effect in workplace environments. Participants who were asked to help a coworker with a task reported higher levels of liking for that coworker afterward, even when the task was inconvenient, even when it took meaningful time. The inconvenience, if anything, amplified the effect. The more they had to sacrifice to help, the more they needed to believe the relationship was worth that sacrifice. A separate study from Harvard Business School found that people who were asked for advice, not help, just advice by someone they had a neutral or negative relationship with, reported warmer feelings toward that person within a single conversation. Just being asked, not even completing the favor, just being treated as someone whose opinion was worth seeking. Because here is what a favor request actually communicates, underneath all of its surface mechanics. It says, I think you are capable. I think you are worth asking. I trust you enough to be vulnerable in front of you. I believe you have something I need. That is not manipulation. That is one of the most honest things one human being can say to another, and the human brain responds to it like sunlight. So, why don't we use this? Why do most people do the opposite? Because the instinct when you want someone to like you is to give, to perform, to impress, to show up with gifts and compliments and demonstrations of your value. And that approach, as flattering as it feels to offer, consistently produces weaker bonds than simply asking. When you do everything for someone, you create a dynamic where they receive and you provide. They don't have skin in the game. They have not invested anything in you. And relationships where one person does all the giving have a strange tendency to produce resentment in the receiver, not gratitude. You have seen this. The friend who does everything for everyone and somehow ends up feeling taken for granted. The person who bends over backwards to make someone like them and watches that person drift away anyway. Franklin understood something that took psychology another 200 years to confirm in a laboratory. The fastest way to make someone care about you is to let them do something for you. Not because you are manipulating them, because you are letting them build something. Every favor they do is a brick, and nobody tears down a wall they built themselves. Right now, somewhere in your life, there is a relationship you have been trying to fix by giving more effort, more availability, more proof that you are worth keeping around. And it is probably not working. Not because you are doing too little, because you are doing everything. You have left no room for the other person to invest. No reason for their brain to build a story about why you matter to them. No favor for them to look back on and decide you were worth it. Benjamin Franklin figured this out in 1736 with a borrowed book and a handwritten note. The science caught up in 1969, and the uncomfortable truth it keeps confirming, study after study, decade after decade, is the same thing it has always been. People don't value what they receive. They value what they choose to give.